Acharya. He is the philosopher of India. He is considered the greatest philosopher of India. So that's why we see that this aspect of cultural aspect is there, that culturally he is seen as the greatest authority on Hinduism. He was the one who revived it from practically uh, dying sort of situation. So this is one thing. Second thing is also that the philosophy's psychological aspect is also very appealing, no? If you don't have to surrender unto the Supreme Lord, in fact, as many ways, as many heads, those many ways, as many thought processes, those many ways to reach the Supreme. You are actually that Supreme. You don't have to worship anyone. You are the Supreme. So this is also very intellectually liberating proposition for many people, isn't it? Because then I don't have to surrender to anyone. I don't have to accept the tradition that this is only the way. No, I can, as many ways, yathamat tathapat. So this also becomes a very appealing situation. It seems to be also corroborating ideas where the intellectual freedom and these aspects get very comfortable with that philosophy, where the tradition and this whole Kali Yuga's thought process, where the tradition appears to be slavery and throwing away tradition appears to be the great intellectual freedom and all that. Because Advaita, it is somehow, even though those traditional Shankaracharyas hold certain authority and all that, but Advaita inherently allows actually complete freedom of thought, you know. You can see that typically even the Advait leaders, they soon find that their philosophy and all that is a different version than their teachers, and they have their own ideas. Oftentimes, even in modern times, you see every Advaita has their own idea. They devise their own ways and all, because philosophy is only like that. Actually, it is not so much uh, need of sticking to the tradition and all that. It has those aspects of free thought and expression of your mm, worship of Supreme can be done in multiple ways. So like they would say that, right? Vivekananda's disciple Nikhilanand would say that Advaita is the best way science and religion can reconcile. Because as per Advaita, science is illusion and religion is also illusion. So you can pick up your illusion. He said, which illusion you want to pick. So he said, our philosophy of Advaita, that's why it can perfectly reconcile science and religion. So you can see what the religion is, don't speak like that. No, they will say that one thing is, this is Vidya, this is Avidya. But for Advaita, Bhakti is one sort of avidya and science is another sort of avidya. Uh, so it's like dreaming to explain dreams. So explanation of dreams, whichever you want, you take, no problem. This is the second aspect also. And then third aspect is that the whole narrative was created post Shankaracharya, that actually Advaita Vedant means intellectualism. That means jnana. We are the ones who study Upanishads. Uh, Others don't study Upanishads. So devotees, they just, chant and dance. They don't study Upanishads and all. So that whole narrative has followed through the centuries. Uh, this whole aspect that bhaktas means simple. But they don't look at acharyas like Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Baladev, uh, Vallabhacharya. These are like formidable intellectuals. They have written such books which are hair-splitting analysis of philosophy and all that. But somehow, yes, they are seen as more or less exceptions. But if you see, even in Advaita, there are few names only, not like every Advaita is a champion scholar or like that. There is Shankaracharya. After Shankaracharya, there was one Prakashatma. There was one Vachaspati Mishra. Then after that, directly you hear Madhusudan Saraswati. Uh, so like that, there are also few people only, but yes, the whole narrative is like that. Jnana means intellectuals, bhakta means sentimentalists. Uh, so this is a sort of also effect produced because of history books and because of the way the propagation is done. So we see because of these things, the Mayavad is very, very popular. But if you see in the universities, like one of my acquaintances who is doing a PhD in Oxford, uh, so he was telling that Prabhu, in universities, especially Western universities, the trend is changing. Like they see now that if you are doing a PhD in Vaishnavism and all, that's considered okay, this is good, substantial now. And if you are exploring Advaita and all, they say, kuch naya nahi hai kya, that's old. And like they say that, okay, Advaita, there is not much anything to be done in that. But if you can speak about Vaishnavism or some very great refutations of Advaita, how the so-called Shankaracharya's established system is getting challenged, that becomes a very interesting phenomenon in many of the universities now. So it is rapidly changing. And he was also saying that this Vaishnavism and especially Gaudiya Vaishnavas and all have also brought a great deal of respectability because they are into many, many fields, many, many devotees also doing PhD, Gaudiya's people, and also all these others. So in prestigious universities like Oxford or Cambridge, Harvard, and all that also. Now they accept this Vaishnavism and those topics very readily for researches and all because they see that it has a great scope. Culturally, also, it has become very powerful. People following Vedanta, Advait Vedanta, and people who are following Krishna consciousness, whether it is Sri Vaishnavism or Gaudiya and all, that number is also making a huge wave. There is Kirtan that is making great wave. Also Prasadam, the food and all. So overall, these factors matter also. But yes, because of some of those things, we can see that Advaita is very popular, remains popular. Okay.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. It got cleared. So basically, सबका अपना time होता है. Advaitis has
Hmm.
their time now. Our time has Vaishnava time has come. And
Exactly. Like,
yeah.
if we were to consider in those 2000 years of Buddhism, then where is Advaita? Kaun hai udhar? Nobody is there. Only player is Buddhism. And against Buddhism, these Karma Mimamsakas, these followers of Purva Mimamsa, they were trying to somehow survive thoda bahut kaise to bhi bach le inse. So these people like Kumarila Bhatta and all, they were trying to save, he tried to save a lot of books in Takshashila and Nalanda and all those places. And so that's how they were trying to just survive somehow in Buddhism. So those 1500 years probably narrative was very different. So that's how it is. These are the eras. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Narhari Thakur Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. Nandita. Guruji, two questions come in my mind. One was my friend was saying that he heard some that lecture it said that going back to Godhead is also a material desire. So it was heard from the authorized source. So I could not understand. He could also not explain me. But he said that he heard from the there is subtle aspect to it. So it is also material desire. He said. When now in discussion, what was going on there? I thought of some saints who recommend bhakti also recommends Advait was also as per the candidate means adhikar. So is that approach is okay? Because in our Gaudi Sampradaya we recommend pure Kevala Bhakti, Ananya Bhakti, but some saints recommend because they practice Bhakti, but they also recommend as per the inclination of the sadhakas. But whoever we meet in our preaching moment, we recommend them pure devotional service. So that approach, they make them means Mayavadi or some or what means that is confusion I have. That two questions.
No, certainly. See, kalar doshanidhe rajan asti eko mahan guna. Kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha param brajit. So, preaching Krishna consciousness, especially in Kali Yuga, that's actually the best strategy. So, adhikar, as far as Kali Yuga's people's adhikar, very rarely you will find some adhikari of jnana also. They are basically first class Shudras, most of them. And if at all they have some intelligence, it is more like intellect. That intellectual person also, if you want him to exercise sense control and all that, वो बोलेगा ए नहीं भाई ये नहीं जाएगा. So that intelligence, so-called adhikar, what they might be seeing, are they seeing even the adhikar in terms of his ability to follow a sattvic lifestyle and lead a life of sense control or like that? So that's why in Kali Yuga, especially, it is mentioned that this is actually the uh, Kali Yuga's Yuga Dharma. So Yuga Dharma determines actually the adhikar of primarily most of the people. That's why Yuga Dharma, right? So we see that the adhikar of the Satyuga's people is they had long lives, very healthy mind, very easy to absorb in the absolute, very great sense control. So for such people, Kriteya Dhyayato Vishnu, very easy. Tretayam Yajato Makhai, because they had that great resources, great ability, very charitable nature also. So they could do that sacrifices. Similarly, in the Dwapar Yuga, and finally coming to Kali Yuga. So actually, these people of Kali Yuga, they are qualified for bhakti process only primarily. You may rarely see somebody who has a great samskar of impersonalism and all. So, it may be difficult for him to accept bhakti and all. But otherwise,
Yes, Vardhan Prabhu, is it audible to you?
No, no, not audible. Some issues.
Yeah.
Internet.
You can post one text message if possible.
Yeah.
okay, I think I have to be made again into co-host. All right. So I was saying this that that's how it is. Where was I, Prabhu?
You were saying that adhikar and by default adhikar is bhakti.
Correct. In Kali Yuga, the adhikar is actually of bhakti. Not that we reject, there can be no jnana or yoga adhikari, no problem. We are not saying that. But point is, we are talking in terms of maximum. That's why Yuga Dharma is this. No, otherwise there would have been some other Yuga Dharma like that. So that's why. So even though somebody is yoga or jnana's adhikari, then you can still preach bhakti to him on the authority of this akama sarvakamova moksha kamo daradhi tivrena bhakti
Hmm.
yogena yajet. This way, we don't
Hmm.
have to preach other paths and all that. So
Hmm.
this is the aspect. Krishna consciousness is only the ultimate path in that sense. So this is one aspect. What was the other question?
Prabhuji, my friend was saying that he heard from authorized devotee that
You
that
got
going
it.
back to Godhead, it is also material desire. So many senior devotees, advanced Vaishnavas in our even our ISKCON, they aspire actually going to back to Godhead. They many lectures so say. So
Got
what?
it.
Where is?
Yeah, got the question. Yes. So you see, the point is this that uh, this idea is spoken by our acharyas themselves. Vishwanath Chakravarti has spoken. Jiva Goswami also has spoken. So it's not that they say going back home, back to Godhead is a material desire. No. But what do they say is a devotee is not even bothered to go back home, back to Godhead. That's also not there in the foreground of his consciousness. Saying material desires would be too much. They are not saying that aspect. What they are saying is, this is not so much in a devotee's consciousness that, okay, when will I go back home? When will I go back home? I should go back home, back to Godhead. His primary purpose is that he wants to serve and please the Supreme Lord. And if that Supreme Lord is pleased, then he may take me in the spiritual world, or he may not take me in the spiritual world, whatever is his wish. If he takes me, I am very happy. If he doesn't take me also, okay, whatever Krishna desires. If he wants me to samsara chakre brahmata swakarma bhi, I don't mind that. I will just pray that mama tava what mama uttama shloka janeshu sakhyam. Let me have great association of your great devotees. That's all I want. So this is the point actually. It's not like he doesn't want to go back home, back to Godhead. He wants to, but it's not so much in his consciousness. He will not express that as a condition and all that. Krishna, Krishna, please take me back home. Krishna, please, like that. No, he would just ask for that. Krishna, please bless me that I can please you in some little way. That's the prayer. This way. So sometimes when you talk about things, there are subtle aspects and subtler aspects and subtlest aspects, right? Like initially, when you will speak, you will not tell a person that, don't worship Lord Vishnu, right? So actually, we will say goal of life is to worship Lord Vishnu. But after some time, when a person becomes more open and all, then we may talk about Lord Vishnu and Lord Krishna. And then we speak about why Krishna Bhakti is considered to be even more special than Vishnu Bhakti. So, in a way, we are telling him that, okay, so instead of worshipping Vishnu, you should worship Krishna. So, you see, it's a subtler aspect. Uh, that's how. So in bhakti, you will find all such subtler aspect. Initially, we may tell everyone what is the goal of life to go back home, back to Godhead. So which is fine. That is a correct answer. Uh, but as we understand deeper, a devotee may not be even bothered about going back home. He's only bothered Krishna Priti. May Krishna be pleased. That's it. So mama janmani janmanishvare bhavatat bhakti rahaitu ki tvai. Mahaprabhu is not even saying that, please take me back home, back to Godhead. Uh, or Ashlish Shava, Radharani's prayer being expressed by Mahaprabhu. Whether you embrace me or whether you may trample me under your feet. still you remain my Supreme Lord always. This way. So that's how it is, Prabhu. To say that going back home, back to God, it is a material desire, will be taking it to extremes. That is not right understanding. Uh, but it is very true. It's there in many places. This discussion comes where Vishwanath Chakravarti, Jiva Goswami do mention this fact that actually at the highest platform, a devotee does not even aspire to go back home. He only aspires for service and pleasing the Supreme Lord by that service. That is always his ultimate aspiration.
Prabhuji, just to follow up, so if we see some advanced devotees preaching that they says, I don't want to take birth again and come again and again this womb of the mother. So he's preaching in that way. He's advanced. We know that he's very pure. So we should understand that he's preaching at that level, but he's on better level. It means we could understand because even in devotee community who are practicing from many years in that community advanced devotee is saying that I don't want to take birth again and again. We have to get out of this. That preaching is done. So we should understand that its subtle mood may be advanced than that, but just for the preaching, it's okay like that.
So it is right only, Prabhu, when the advanced devotee is preaching these principles, they are directly from Shastra only, that I don't want to come back again in this material world. I want to actually attain Krishna's lotus feet. But we are saying, what if Krishna wants you to come back in the material world? So then you will want it, no? So there is some qualifier to that. Huh? If it is, by my own desire, I never want to come back again in mother's womb. But if Krishna's desire is there, I don't mind. Then I'm ready to come back. Huh? So that's why it is perfect only if somebody is preaching like this that, yes, I don't want to again enter into some mother's womb. Like here also, Jiva is praying like that. That's a perfect thing. It is still within the realm of pure devotional service only. Huh? See, I can tell you, see, beyond the four, beyond Sayujya, no, the other four muktis and all that, it is considered bhakti only. We in Krishna consciousness have a very subtler and further refined kind of understanding. But it is all have accepted in the realm of pure bhakti only. We don't say that somebody is aspiring for Salokya Mukti. Oh, that is actually impure devotional service. We don't say like that. That is a bhakti, that is a mukti accepted within the realm of pure bhakti. So it's fine. Sayujya will be considered certainly an impurity. It is jnana karma dhyana vritam, like that, that aspect. So that's how it is, Prabhu. Got it?
Yeah, Prabhuji, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Okay, then. So I think we should proceed now. Okay, so having offered those prayers, just a minute. Yes. So having offered those prayers, then we see that the Jivatma now comes out of mother's womb by Supreme Lord's blessings. So that aspect is spoken here now. And also the Sadharana Jiva, the ordinary soul, his coming out of the mother's womb. Now that is again spoken as together actually. For both of them, this verse applies this way. So after this, further than the suffering of that Jiva is described, one who is forgetful of Krishna, that Jiva, how he suffers in this material world, that aspect is being spoken further verses. Kapila Uvacha, Evam Kritamatir Garbhe Dashamasya Stuvan Rashihi Sadhya Kshipatya Vachinam Prasutyai Sutimarutaha. Okay, so Abhay Govind Pro, you want to read? So please continue reading 10 verses.
Yes, Guru. Lord Kapila continued, the 10-month-old living entity has these desires even while in the womb. But while he thus extols the Lord, the wind that helps parturition propels him forth, with his face turned downward so that he may be born.
Yeah. So the living entity, Dashamasya, he's completed 9 months and he's in his 10th month. That's the time usually that the uh, child comes out of mother's womb, right? So in this way, Kritamatihi, having made this resolve to practice bhakti when he comes out of mother's womb, and he's making this resolve in the mother's womb only, Garbhe. That person is called Rishi. Such a person, he is like a sage. Sadhya Kshipatyavachinam Prasutye Suti Marutaha. So this heirs of parturition, Suti Marutaha, what do they do? In order for the delivery can happen, so those heirs start pushing the child downward, like that. So with his head downward, the wind start pushing him so that he can come out of mother's womb. Uh, so here we see that Vishwan Chakravarti says that especially for an ordinary child, those winds of the parturition, they push him down. But for very special jiva, Bhagyavan jiva, by his prayers, the Lord is pleased, and then the Lord, you know, he he has that jiva come out of mother's womb without much trouble. Meaning he says that for the Bhagyavan jiva, um, pleased by his prayers and all, Lord just blesses him to come out of mother's womb without any much trouble. Uh, but otherwise, in general, yes, coming out of mother's womb also itself is quite an intense, miserable experience, and because of which we see that oftentimes all the memory is lost. If at all there was some memory in the mother's womb, but that is also finished. Even as an ordinary child, the child, especially after the 7th month, uh, it may have some sort of experiences in mother's womb and all, right? But all that memory is lost after that intense experience of coming out of mother's womb uh, in this way. So we see that that aspect is even being spoken over here. Tena vrishta sahasa kritva vakshira aturah vinishkramati krishrena niruchvaso hatasmritihi.
Pushed downward all of a sudden by the wind, the child comes out with great trouble, head downward, breathless, and deprived of memory due to severe agony.
Yeah. So in that condition, you can see the child is being pushed out of the womb, and in that upside down condition, trying to come out of that opening. Vinishkramati krichrena. So it is a great trouble. Uh, the child trying to come out of mother's womb. Niruchvaso. Practically, he undergoes like stoppage of breath. Sometimes we see that the child it becomes so breathless that the child may die also. It happens. A lot of complex cases happen in obstetrics uh, in the delivery of the child, where we see that the child may lose life, or sometimes, because of that lack of oxygen, niruchvaso, the child's brain, because it does not receive the oxygen, so because of that, the child becomes mentally retarded. So that's it. You can see that nothing they can do. It's a congenital problem, meaning right from birth. Uh, as soon as the child is born, the problem was there. So you just have to live with it. You can't do anything with it. So it's a great suffering, actually. And Hatha Smriti, if at all he had some Smriti within mother's womb, so that is all just wiped off after that experience of the birth. So much so that even for the Bhagyavan Jiva, or even for the yogi or jnani child, it is mentioned that uh, for some time that memory is lost, and only with the right association that memory may be revived. The word krichrena means with great difficulty. When the child comes out of the abdomen through the narrow passage, due to pressure there, the breathing system completely stops. And due to agony, the child loses his memory. Sometimes the trouble is so severe that child comes out dead or almost dead. One can imagine what the pangs of birth are like. So staying there in that womb for 10 months, 9 months, and then coming out forcibly, being pushed out by those uh, winds and all. So it is wonderful. Everybody is celebrating. The child is born, beta hua, beta or beti hui, whatever, uh, uh, whatever child, son or daughter. So they're celebrating and all. But then, yes, it's actually dukkha doshano darshanam. It is a misery. That condition is certainly very uh, miserable. So that's why Prabhupada says, he's quoting also this. Who is serious about advancement in spiritual consciousness should always consider anu darshanam. Anu means constantly, always. That is called anu, santatam. Uh, One should always remember this nature of the material world. Smara nityam anityatam. It's a real world with real suffering. This way. पतितो भुव्य संमिश्रः विष्टा भूरिव चेष्टते रोरुयते गते ज्ञाने विपरीतां गतिं गतः.
The child thus falls on the ground, smeared with stool and blood, and plays just like a worm germinated from the stool. He loses his superior knowledge and cries under the spell of Maya.
Yeah. Coming out of that womb, we see that with all the other substances that come out along with him and all. So it is a very pathetic condition. So then the doctor and others may clean the child, and then uh, that we see that then the child is taken out of that condition. Roruyate gatesh jnane. So he starts crying, right? In fact, after getting a slap on the back, then typically the child starts crying. Uh, he has forgotten everything what was there, uh, that condition in the mother's womb and all that memory and all that, it's gone completely. So in this way, the birth is considered a misery. Now, after birth, the Shaishava, infancy, and also the Balya, childhood, that is also another misery, right? Parachandam na vidusha, ushamano janena saha, anabhipretam pratyakhatu manishwaraha.
After coming out of the abdomen, the child is given to the care of persons who are unable to understand what he wants, and thus he is nursed by such persons. Unable to refuse whatever is given to him, he falls into undesirable circumstances.
And then we see that the child is growing and then the child is crying, but nobody understands why is he crying. Sometimes the mother also doesn't understand why is he crying, because his stomach is full and he doesn't need any food or anything, still continues to cry because nobody knows only why is he crying. There may be some ant biting him somewhere, or sometimes some mosquito, or sometimes he may have some stomach ache or something. Who knows, right? Parachandam na vidusha. Parachanda, meaning we see that these personalities, those who are taking care of him, mother, nurse, father, child, other children, whatever, they just don't understand why the child is crying, what is his need. uh, उसकी इच्छा क्या है? छंद मीन्स इच्छा, वो नहीं समझ पाते कोई. Right? We see that sometimes child starts crying, nobody is able to stop, and then 10 people are trying to quiet the child, but difficult. Pushamano janena saha. And he's being taken care of by other people and all, but they don't understand his needs. Right? Anabhipretamapanna pratyakhatu manishwara. And he is not able to say it also, right? He is suffering, he needs something, but he is not able to say anything. So just crying, crying, crying. Anything he wants, just crying, like that. So because of that, sometimes uh, his stomach is full, and still the mother is trying to feed him milk, or trying to feed him the foodstuffs and all. Or sometimes, even though he doesn't have stomach ache, something else is there. The mother may feel like the child is having some stomach ache, and so let me give him some medicine. So some bitter medicine may be given, like nimba juice or something, some mild medicines like that. And he doesn't like it, but he has to take it because, yeah, nobody understands why he is crying. So that is the condition, isn't it? The atmosphere within the abdomen was not at all pleasing, but as far as the child's feeding was concerned, it was being properly done by the laws of nature. Prabhupada is saying. But upon coming out of the abdomen, the child falls into different atmosphere. He wants to eat one thing, but something else is given. Right? Sometimes the child cries for mother's breast, but because the nurse thinks that due to pain within his stomach that he is crying, she supplies him bitter medicine. So this is very awkward, right? Children, very difficult actually, right? You must have also seen relative, brother or sister's children, and it's not easy actually to raise a child. Sometimes the parents, mother, father, whole night they have to be awake. The child will not stop only crying, or sometimes the child will just not sleep in the night, and parents whole day they have worked hard, and in the night they have to stay awake, and it goes on for months together. Sometimes the mother's health may fall because of the child, father's health may fall because of the child. It's not easy actually to raise a child. Only after the child becomes 3 4 years old, then we see that the that trouble is lessened. But then different sort of trouble may begin. Now then he becomes extremely naughty, and he may break, or he may do some pranks and all, because of which he may get into trouble. So that's how children and all, it's not that easy to raise. Previously, also, there was no nuclear family concept, and it was a joint family. So even if the children are there, there would be many people to take care, right? Mother is there, father is there, grandmother, grandfather, uncle, aunt, all of them were there. But we see that in today's day and time, especially where nuclear families are there, so it is so difficult sometimes. This mother can become really stressed out completely because of the child. So then they don't want to have more children also. Their uh, what you can say, tolerance is finished in just one child only. Finished. They can't have more than one. So that's why we see in today's day and time, right? People just have one child, one daughter, one son. That's all. Not even two children. So we see all these aspects. Kali Yuga becomes all the more difficult. So much of educational fees, this, that. Even as uh, junior KG and senior KG, I have seen, 1.5 lakhs rupees fees in such when the child is 4 years of age, 5 years of age, right? And the fees that they are paying for his senior KG or junior KG school is 1.5 lakhs. My God, I was thinking, what is this? How, whatever they earn, it's so difficult, you can say. Shayito Shuchi Paryanke Jantuhu Svedaja Dushite Neshah Kandu Yanenganam Asanothana Cheshtane.
Laid down on a foul bed infested with sweat and germs, the poor child is incapable of scratching his body to get relief from his itching sensation. to say nothing of sitting up, standing, or even moving.
Yeah. So sometimes there are the germs and this, bugs may come, or gnats or some mosquitoes, they may bite, and the child wants to scratch his body, but he can't do so. So he just keeps crying, crying, crying. He can't sit up also, he can't stand also, or move also, especially as an infant. uh, these are the conditions. तुदन्त्यात्मत्वचं दंशा मशकामत्कुणादयः रुदन्तं विगतज्ञानं क्रमयः क्रमिकं यथा.
In his helpless condition, gnats, mosquitoes, bugs, and other germs bite the baby, whose skin is tender, just as smaller worms bite a big worm. The child, deprived of his wisdom, cries bitterly.
Yeah. Vigata Jnanam means that the spiritual knowledge which the child developed in the abdomen is already lost to the spell of Maya. So, that spiritual knowledge, we can see that it may be lost even for those who have developed that spiritual knowledge, special jivas also. And then it may be revived. It will be certainly revived in association, but yes, it is lost for the time being. Uh, Owing to various kinds of disturbances and to being out of the abdomen, the child cannot remember what he was thinking. It is assumed that even if a person acquires some spiritually uplifting knowledge, circumstantially he is prone to forget it. So circumstances are only like that, right? Vastu Swabhavat, it is mentioned. That situation is only like that. Condition is only like that. So that's why not only children, but also elderly persons should be very careful to protect their sense of Krishna consciousness and avoid unfavorable circumstances. Prabhupada makes a nice point that he says just as circumstantially the child has forgotten, even if there was some spiritual knowledge in mother's womb, so circumstances can really cause forgetfulness. So that's why not only as a child, but also as a grown up, we should be very careful to not put ourselves in unfavorable circumstances by which we will forget Krishna consciousness. इत्येवं शैशवं भुक्त्वा दुःखं पौगण्डमेव च अलब्धाभीप्सितो ज्ञानाद् विद्धमन्योषु चार्पितः.
In this way, the child passes through his childhood, suffering different kinds of distress, and attains boyhood. In boyhood also he suffers pain over desires to get things he can never achieve, and thus, due to ignorance, he becomes angry and sorry.
Yeah. So we see that the child passes through childhood and then attains boyhood. So now he has to go to school. And everybody can remember, right, going to school the first day. Many times it was such a memorable day going to school. Some children, the parents and all, they have to literally lift the child, his two legs and two hands, and put him in school. The child doesn't want to go to school, right? Balas tavat krida satta. So he just wants to play, and then school becomes such a botheration this way. But then everybody has to go to school. Then he wants so many, as a child or boy, he wants so many things that the parents may not want to give or cannot afford to give. But the child wants it, uh, especially the toys and such things, right? There is just no end of that. Uh, they always want more and more. Balas tavat krida sakt. Just wants to play, and that's why I want this also, that also, that also. Everything that he sees in the hand of some other child, he wants sometimes. And then the parents also, if they don't control the child, then the child will become so obstinate and so demanding, that unruly, that it's impossible to control him. Especially in today's day and time, you see this sort of problem is there very much, because they have only one child, and then that child, whatever demands he makes, they want to fulfill it, saying we have only one child after all. But then he becomes later so demanding and so obstinate, and it is impossible to control. Uh, you have to give him everything that he asks. So then later they feel very sorry. We should have disciplined the child before only, and all that. So at least we see that in former times they would discipline the child, not that anything and everything you ask you can get. Even if the parents had that capacity, that they could provide, but still they taught the aspect of discipline, they taught the aspect of sharing, right? You all know, uh, in the family that we came, or the prior generation, uh, so we see that always we were taught about this aspect of sharing, right? Anything is brought and father gave to me, then he would say that, so suppose some fruit is there, or fruits are there, or some ice cream he brought, or whatever, like he said. So he would say, share with everyone. And then he would ask everybody, did you get it? Did you get it? The siblings. So he would make sure that the sharing was done properly, this way. Or he would only share and show us that, see, this is how everybody should get equal share, not like one person only is eating everything that way. So we see that so many of these cultural aspects, as Kali Yuga goes on increasing, they are missing. So people don't want to, the children are like so unruly. They want everything for themselves, nothing they want to give to anyone else. They want everything that the other child is having. They don't want anything second hand. In our childhood, we would remember that the books that were used by elder sister, I would get those books like that, because just 1 year elder to me. So, I mean, this is there in any families, right? So this aspect of, not that everything I want new only. No, the cycle that was used, that I received. So something like that. So all these aspects actually culturally are very important to teach to people, to teach to the students and all that. And we see this is so much lacking in today's day and time. This way. So so much of suffering, even in childhood and all, because of these unexpected uh, sort of scenarios, where we see that all the desires cannot be fulfilled and should not be also. Uh, But then the child suffers pain over that, becomes angry, becomes sorry, this way. The child attains boyhood, he is enrolled in a school which he does not like, but he is forced take responsibility of passing examinations, especially the examinations and all in today's day and time. How complex, right? Everybody, they want that they should crack JEE, men's or advanced or NEET. And the guy does not have any ability of that sort, but he's being forced in the name of foundation course and all. Right from fifth standard, they will make them study for IIT JEE. 7 years later, he is going to give that, but right from fifth standard. So, in a way, we see that it's a very, very restricted definition of success. No, why only those who crack JEE and NEET, only those are intelligent people? Can there be no other fields? So we see that it's a very restricted, unidimensional kind of idea, and everybody's joining that rat race. So it's a great agony. Sometimes we see that the children express also to us that I don't want to do this, but I'm being so much pushed, and I don't have that ability. Still, I am being pushed. For that, the parents don't mind spending lakhs and lakhs of rupees also. So sometimes the child may get completely stressed out because, yeah, it's not natural for him this way. Uh, Even the schools, the way they encourage competition and all. I just saw my nephew is there. So I just saw the weight of his bag, school bag. He's in second standard, and it was very heavy bag, I was like shocked to see that weight. Uh, so heavy it was, like 7, 8 kg probably, more than that. So like sometimes such things cause also great pain. Even the bodily structure and all they're researching now, even that gets deformed because of such heavy school bags. So now the schools are also coming up with you know uh, that bag free school. All the books and notebooks and all they keep in the classroom only, they don't bring anything in the home. So then problem is, but then the parents cannot check what he's doing. Uh, so anyway, the point is these are the miseries of bala. Balastavat krida sakta, and then tarunastavat taruni rakta, or taruni sakta. Uh, So that is spoken in the next verse. Sahadehena manena vardhamanena manyuna karoti vigraham kami kameshvantaya chatmana. Yes.
With the growth of the body, the living entity, in order to vanquish his soul, increases his false prestige and anger and thereby creates enmity towards similarly lust people.
And then especially if he comes into teenager and then further youth and all, so then what happens is, you know, because of that youthful energy and because of this lust and all these emotions taking great precedence now, so he starts quarreling over some girl. The boys would start quarreling and they may sometimes hit each other, beat each other. Sometimes they may even kill each other. Terrible violence can go on because of this affairs and this lusty business. Karoti vigraham kami kamishvantaya chatman. We see that they in the college and all, people because of opposite sexes attraction, then they may lose complete focus of the studies, and then they may destroy their career completely, destroy their life, because of getting into some violence and quarrels and all that. Uh, so tarunastavat taruni sakta. uh, That gives a great suffering, and that gives the maximum suffering. Right? You know, the suffering caused by especially the attachment to opposite sex, that is considered to be the most acute suffering in the material world. It is considered to be also the pleasure, so-called pleasure, very highest pleasure, but it also has a great suffering within it. And that attachment to woman can make us suffer like hell this way. And more than happiness, the experience of suffering is only very common, like that, right? All those broken hearts and all that. We see that very terrible suffering. So Prabhupada speaks about kamesha, krodhesha, how lust and anger, uh, they cause the degradation of the person. So that's why Narottam Das Thakur says, Kama Krishna Karmarpane. The same lust can be transformed in a purified way so that we want everything for satisfaction of Supreme Lord. So the point is working for the, just a minute. Working for the satisfaction of, working hard for satisfaction of Supreme Lord, trying to bring resources for service of Krishna. So that's the way to engage the lust, by working very, very hard for Krishna's pleasure. So much so that the body gets tired, the mind gets tired, like that, uh, by uh, by plans of service of Krishna and execution of those plans this way. Bhutair panchabirarabdhe dehe dehya budho sakrit aham mametya sadad aham mametya sadgrahah karoti kumatir matim
By such ignorance, the living entity accepts the material body, which is made of five elements, as himself. With this misunderstanding, he accepts non-permanent things as his own and increases his ignorance in the darkest region.
Yeah, so that's clear. Tadartham kurute karma yadbaddho yati samsritim yonu yati dadat klesham avidya karma bandhana.
For the sake of the body, which is a source of constant trouble to him, and which follows him because he is bound by ties of ignorance and futile activities, he performs various actions which cause him to be subjected to repeated birth and death.
Yeah. So you can see that for the sake of body, tadartham, he does so many abominable activities because of which he becomes completely bound. And that in turn brings actually so much of klesha and the bondage and all that. So this goes on repeating. Avidya kama karma bhi. Kunti Devi also says, Bhavesmin klishyamananam avidya kama karma bhi. Shaman smaran arhani karishaniti kechan. So in this material world, avidya, the ignorance, causes the material desires karma. And in order to fulfill that karma, then one has to take up the karma. And that causes the bondage, bandha. So avidya leading to kama, leading to karma, leading to bandhana. This goes on. One is completely trapped into the cycle. And in fact, Prabhupada says the leaders, so-called leaders like social, national, government leaders, they are also under bodily conception of life, and they go on propagating that bodily conception, isn't it? When people hear politicians, when people hear the other national leaders, government leaders, scientists, so their illusion, their false ideas about life, they go on increasing only, isn't it? Especially the film stars and such people, they have such an influence over people's mentality. They just change the ideology of the youth completely. So it is andha yathande rupaniyamana, like that. So that's how the knowledge, the lack of transcendental knowledge, that's the greatest lack in this world. यद्य सद्भिः पथि पुनः शिष्णोदर कृतोद्यमैः आस्थितो रमते जंतुस् तमो विशति पूर्ववत्.
If, therefore, the living entity again associates with the path of righteousness, influenced by sensually minded people engaged in the pursuit of sexual enjoyment and the gratification of the palate, he again goes to hell as before.
Yeah. So we see that if on this path of sense enjoyment, especially if the living entity becomes dedicated to the demands of Shishna, genital, and Udara, the belly, and by those uh, efforts that he takes up to satisfy the belly and the genitals, so then we see that he becomes so attached to those and he becomes so engrossed in those affairs that tamo vishati purvavat. If such a person takes up to very sinful life in order to fulfill the demands of the udara and shishna, so then such a person again enters the hellish species. So he had got this human form of life, but then now he is not going to remain there. Madhye tishthanti rajasa will now go down to adho gachanti tamasa. Especially if one is too much attached to satisfying the demands of the belly and the genitals. Uh, Especially within that, this attachment to the sex life. So that idea now is going to be very much spoken with, you can say, with great condemnation, that especially attachment to the sex life, because then that throws one in hells like Tamishra, which is very great suffering this way. So this life of eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy, that would throw one back into the hellish conditions from where one had come through the proper transmigration of species. One had come to human form of life, but he will again go back to that hellish condition because of such undesirable attachment to sex life. Uh, So especially that aspect now is going to be spoken. How the attachment to women and the attachment to those who are attached to women, Stri and Stri Sangi, is actually a door to hell. uh, Nirayadvara, it is. Tyam Shaucham Daya Maunam Buddhi Buddhi Shrirhir Yashakshama Shamodamo Bhagascheti Yat Sangat Yati Sankshayam. Yes.
Guruji, I have read 10 verses.
Yes, Prabhu, read.
Guruji, I have read already 10 verses, so if somebody else.
Yeah. Okay, fine, Prabhu. Yeah. Somebody else can read. Who wants to read? Anyone volunteer? Anyone who has not read and now he wants to read? Yes, yes, Prabhu, please. You raise the hand, you can go.
He
I
becomes
forgot
truthful.
you, Prabhu. Yeah.
Jogeshwar Mohandas. Jogeshwar.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
He becomes devoid of truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, gravity, spiritual intelligence, shyness, austerity, fame, forgiveness, control of the mind, control of the senses, fortune, and all such opportunities.
So you see, somebody especially becomes attached to the sense enjoyers, those persons who are attached to women, or attachment of women also. Somebody becomes very attached to women for sense enjoyment. Uh, so then such a person loses these wonderful qualities like satyam. A person will lose the truthfulness because in the association of such people, we see that the gravity goes away. Very much flippancy comes in one's speech and behavior. And one's attachment to the truth, satya, will go away. Shaucham, naturally, the cleanliness, internal cleanliness, external cleanliness would be lost. The aspect of daya, because one becomes extremely selfish, so daya goes away. Maunam, yes, the gravity will go away. In the association of woman, you can see a person becomes very frivolous, and he just starts speaking all nonsense in order to satisfy the woman because they are very talkative, and they also like talkative people. They like people who are always constantly speaking something. If one is very laconic in his speech, one is not does not speak much. Uh, so then we see that the women don't like such a person. They like the talkative guy. So one loses the maunam. Buddhi, intelligence is lost uh, because they are very attached to the body, and in their association, person also becomes very attached to the bodily aspects, bodily consciousness, and that's how. uh, See, especially we are talking about association and attachment to materialistic woman. If some grahastha is leading a sincere life with his wife also being a devotee, so that may not lead to such a degradation. No, they may flourish in bhakti if they are very sincere. But in general, yes, a woman, she carries such qualities, or those who are attached to women, they carry such qualities that all such wonderful activities, they are lost in the association of, especially in the attachment of the woman. So, the aspect of shyness, Yashaha, the fame, if one is too much attached to sensual relationships and all, then all fame is destroyed, right? One becomes extremely infamous and like that. At least in a respectable society. In Kali Yuga, opposite may happen. uh, because the standard is reversed in Kali Yuga. The man with maximum affairs, he may be considered to be very cool or macho man. Is like pathetic, right? The movies and all also show a person who is very sexually, very greatly active. So he is actually the real hero. So completely perverse, corrupted ideas floating everywhere this way. So one loses qualities like forgiveness, qualities like daya, shama. Obviously, sense control is gone. Dhamma, sense control is gone. Shama, mind control is gone. Everything is gone. Bhaga, the whole auspiciousness in the life, fortune in the life is gone because of attachment to materialistic women. Those who are too addicted to sex life cannot understand the purpose of absolute truth, nor can they be clean in their habits, not to mention of showing mercy to others. They cannot remain grave. So you can see all those qualities get lost completely. So especially as brahmacharis, we don't have anything to do with women. If at all we have some service, we do that service and then just leave the place there. We don't have to even talk to them anything unnecessary, and we don't have to talk to them in a way that it is very casual kind of talk and giggling and laughing and cracking jokes with them. It's completely unnecessary. In fact, it is very risky to get into that zone. Just needful talk if you have service. If you don't have service, no talk at all. Nothing. That is actually a sincere brahmachari, right? Otherwise, Bhaktisiddhanta would say that brahmacharis have a disease of impressing other men's wives. So very, very pinching, right? But what he's saying, that mentality, he said that he would recognize and chastise brahmacharis sometimes, saying you have brahmachari may have this secret nature of impressing other men's wives. Uh, Anyway, he doesn't have anything to do with women, but he may still secretly harbor the desire to impress women, especially very good-looking women, beautiful women. He may feel like I should impress them this way. So these are all very risky desires and risky mindsets. We should just stay away. If we want to stay as a brahmachari, then we should know that these are very risky zones like that. We don't want to impress anyone, in fact. We want to impress Krishna uh, by our sincere desire, by our sincere uh, practice of bhakti. So, as a brahmachari, that sincerity, honest avoidance of opposite sex, very honest avoidance, no unnecessary coming in their association, whatever in the name of service or like that. Uh, Seeking some sort of emotional gratification over there. This is not good for brahmachari at all. So Prabhupada says that uh, like people in today's age especially, they have lost all shame, shyness. Such people have no sense of decency. And even in public streets or public parks, they embrace each other like cats and dogs and pass it off in the name of love making and all, right? These things are becoming very increasingly common in cities and everywhere, where people feel like that so-called expression of love and all. But it is actually very low-class people, like they behave like that, Shudras and Shudrani, how Ajamila saw these things. But in the name of free expression of love and all, we see that they are actually burying all the culture completely in the ground. तेष्वशान्तेषु मूढेषु खण्डितात्मस्वसाधुषु संगम न कुर्यात् शोचेषु योषित क्रीडा मृगेषु च.
One should
Yes.
not associate with a coarse fool who is bereft of the knowledge of self realization and who is no more than a dancing dog in the hands of a woman.
Yeah. So one thing is attachment to women, but another also very deadly thing is attachment to those who are attached to women. You must like this you must have seen in colleges, in hostels and all. When I stayed in hostel also, I saw that those who were attached to women, no, these guys were very deadly because even in an innocent boy actually they would create a great curiosity in material enjoyment, and in him they would create a desire for very sinful pleasures of this world. Uh, Although the guy was very innocent, coming from very simple, sometimes even village background or even city background, but very pure, from a very good family. But as far as the women are concerned, one sees that clearly that it is opposite sex, so one may stay away from them at least out of shyness or at least because of, yeah, it's not so much social in India, right? That free mixing aspect. At least those days it was not. But these people who are attached to women, people who are stri sangis, people who are very, very fond of material enjoyment and that they have some very utopian ideas of pleasures of this world. So they would be great preachers of sense enjoyment to the new scapegoats, new bakras who would come in the hostel. Uh, I would see that actually and feel very sad actually that this innocent guy is getting slaughtered by these people by showing him and introducing to him the world of sense enjoyment. So that is actually a Stri Sangi. Uh, He would speak and preach and pollute the mind of even an innocent person. Although one may not see it as a danger because that guy is not a woman, but he is worse than a woman because he would create that desire this way. So, especially for a brahmachari and all, uh, he may stay clear of the women because directly it is opposite sex and all. But sometimes people who are attached to the women, such people, and the ideas that they speak about, so one should be very careful about such people also. Uh, because their ideas may influence or agitate the mind or uh, even the ideas like those who are too much attached to women or too much attached to money, too much attached to the resources that will bring sense enjoyment. So these are very deadly people because that association can pollute our mind also uh, this way. So that's why those brahmacharis who are like too much sometimes getting into association of unnecessary association of women, it is certainly a red signal. But not only that, but like too much association of men who are attached to women and their house, their wives and their house and all. It's not good too much. As brahmacharis, we keep association of Sajatiya people. Those who cherish this aspect of exclusive dependence on Krishna and exclusive time for Krishna. Actually, Manu tells that for a brahmachari, it is not very good also to, harbor the ideas of uh, appreciation for other ashram. Like if you are a brahmachari, better stay in association with those who appreciate brahmachari ashram. If you associate too much with those who appreciate grihastha ashram, although all ashramas are bona fide, but that's not how a brahmachari should think, in the sense that he should know that I have taken this complete exclusive ashram for Krishna's service. So actually, I should relish that. Uh, Oftentimes, people who are saying that all ashrams are equal and grihastha also there is no problem, they are the ones who end up in going in grihastha. Why? Because probably, although it's a fact that all ashrams are fine, we accept it, we agree with it. But point is, as a brahmachari, I should relish brahmachari ashram. I should know that my psychophysical nature is not suited for grihastha. So I relish that association which increases my conviction in brahmacharya ashram. Uh, that is the point. If you are going to all the time hear about glories of grihastha, although you are in brahmacharya ashram, how will you feel inspiration to continue it, right? So that's why one has to choose also very carefully the association. We can respect all Vaishnavas. We can also take their association. But especially in terms of our very regular association where a lot of guhyam akhyati prachati dadati pratigranati happens, that should be with brahmacharis and those who relish this exclusive service opportunity for Krishna. So we actually relish these shastric sections, those shastric sections, or that kind of association. Like I know one of the brahmacharis, whenever brahmachari sections were taken, he would feel like, hey, why we should be so fanatic? Grihastha is also good. We are actually devotees. We are not brahmacharis or grihasthas. But the point is, you are in brahmacharya ashram, and if Shastra is glorifying that, what is your problem? And I, sure enough, he in 3-4 years he changed the ashram. And one of the things that struck to my mind was this: that this person did not have appreciation for brahmacharya ashram. Whenever that opportunity of exclusive dependence on Krishna and freedom from the encumbrances of family life was discussed, उसको पेट में problem होता था उसको. Why? Because he was not meant for this ashram. So that's how. So we should be mature, but we should also know that, yes, that I relish the opportunity that I have received. I don't feel like, why am I here? Or I don't feel like, everything is fine. Brahmachari is also fine. Grahastha is also fine. Everything is fine. So that is there, everything is fine. But you got my point, I am sure that one also relishes the kind of life that we are in. If that aspect of appreciation and relish is not there, no, then we run into risk zone also, because then we may feel like, yeah, probably I'm just happen to be here, but I don't relish so much on this life this way. So that's why such people who are bereft of knowledge of Shastra, Moodha people, Ashanta people, we don't want to take association of Ashanta people. We want to take association of Prashanta people. Right? Prakrishta Rupena Shanta. Those whose mind, senses, and all are very, very peaceful in service of Krishna. Khanditatma su asadhushu. Khanditatma su, meaning one whose intelligence is khandita. It is the knowledge or intelligence is completely covered. Asadhushu, such people are very much wicked, and they don't have proper values. Shocha, they are actually very lamentable because of their fallen attachment. They are very lamentable. Yoshit Kridam Mrigeshucha. And they are toys in the hands of the women. Right? Dancing dog in the hands of women. So like that. We see that even the great emperors and all that. Mushakunda also prays like this, right? Krida Mriga Purushai Shaniyate. My Lord, although conquering the direction, the circle of direction, Dik Chakram, Nirjitya Dik Chakram Abhuta Vigraho Varasanasta Samarajavandata. Griheshu yoshita kuleshu, he says that krida mruga purusha ishaniyate. That such emperor also conquering the circle of directions, when he enters into the women's inner chambers, he is driven away here and there like a dog by the woman, because of their attachment for the sex life. Right? That's the story of people, great emperors so called, but then they are smashed by the woman. Um, Lord Chaitanya, that's why advises any person engaged in Krishna consciousness and who desires to pass beyond material nations must not associate himself with women. Uh, Sandarshanam Vishayanam Atha Yoshitam Cha Ha Hanta Hanta Vishabhakshano Sadhu. He says that those who want to cross over this material ocean, for them, the Sandarshanam, the association of women, and Vishayanam, those who are attached to women, that is Vishabhakshanataha api asadhu. It is asadhu, it is deadlier even than taking the poison willingly. That's how. न तथास्य भवेन् मोहो बन्धश्चान्य प्रसंगतः योषित संगाद यथा पुंसो यथा तत्संगी संगतः. Yes, Prabhu.
The infatuation and bondage which occur to a man from attachment to any other object is not as complete as that resulting from attachment to a woman or the fellowship of men who are fond of women.
Yeah. So very amazing, no? Kapila says, Na tathasya bhaven moho. The moha and bandha are the illusion or the infatuation and the bondage, and no other object causes such infatuation and bondage as much as the materialistic attachment to a woman or those who are attached to women. It's a different infatuation only, different level of bondage only, right? When people become attached to a woman, we see, right, they will just not listen to anyone. The boy falls in so-called love with a girl, finished now. Now he will not listen to anyone. They may do such things which are like completely going to ruin their life or like that. They may give up their education also. So it's a thorough infatuation, complete bondage, samyak, uh, this way. So that's why he is saying बाकी कोई चीज से ऐसा मोह और बंधन नहीं होता है जितना इनसे होता है. Other things are also there. Money is there, power, prestige, but the attachment to woman, one can do any crazy thing. It can be any stupid thing, or it can be any, very deadly thing also. One can kill also. One can kill oneself. One will kill other person, kill everyone. Like what all level it can go. Because that's how the woman is made in this world. She's meant to distract the man from the path of spiritual life. uh, this way. In Kali Yuga especially, the association with women is very strong. The advertisements are full of pictures of women. Everywhere, women, 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 right? Any advertisement, anything, people want to see the face of a beautiful woman. So then everywhere they are just placed like that. But in Vedic civilization, it arranges association with women very cautiously. This whole free mixing aspect, Prabhupada would say that he would say it's very unfortunate that even devotees don't understand the danger of free mixing, especially in the Western world. And now everyone is following Western world, so even in India, right? Free mixing. Just few years back, right, when people would come to temple, you must have seen the men would sit on the men's side, the women would sit on women's side. Now you see, everybody sits anywhere. All the boys, girls, men, women, family, this, that, everybody is sitting anywhere. we see that they don't have any understanding of that separation or like that. Sometimes it's difficult to even go and offer obeisances, right? Especially on days like Sundays or like that. If you have missed the association, the darshan in morning, you want to go and offer, take darshan, offer obeisances in the evening. So it's so difficult because you get up and behind there may be some Mataji and ahead some Mataji may be there. Suddenly next to you some Mataji is there. Uh, so very different scenario. Free mixing everywhere completely. That uh, whether it is vehicle, whether it is public vehicle, transports, everywhere just together in this way. Only in in Vedic life, only in Grihasthashram there is license to mix with women. No other ashram. That too, even a Grihastha is supposed to see any other woman except his wife as mother, Matravat Paradareshu. Not that in the name of Grihasthashram, he is taking other men's wives and going here, there, and whatever. So those things also have caused great trouble. Even in our society, so much trouble because of crossing that line of dealing with other men's wives. So even as a grahastha, one has to be so careful because that's not your wife. Uh, that is somebody else's wife. So what to speak of brahmachari, we can see, right? We should be so strict on that aspect, like that. So otherwise, if we are loose there today or tomorrow, then it will cause some accident. प्रजापति स्वाम दुहितरम दृष्ट्वा तद्रूपधर्षितः रोहिद्भूतां सोऽन्वधावत् वृक्षरूपी हतत्रपः.
At the sight of his own daughter, Brahma was bewildered by her charms and shamelessly ran up to her in the form of a stag when she took the form of a hen.
Yeah, so so Kapila is even quoting that episode where Brahma himself ran behind his daughter. This Saraswati, she was born from Brahma, but she was so beautiful that Brahma, he himself got attracted to her sexually. And he just started looking at her with desire for enjoyment, and she became so fearful that she took form of a female deer, a doe. uh. So seeing her that she taking a form of a doe, so Brahma took the form of the male deer, stag, Rohit. So we can see and started following her. Uh, So different forms she took, Saraswati, of different species, and that male form Brahma was taking, Hatatrapaha, being completely devoid of any shame. So this particular episode, he is reminding that even great people like that, like Brahma and all, uh, they may also sometimes be overcome by passion. So who are we actually? We are very insignificant people, right? So at least we can try our best to safeguard ourselves. We should not take casually. That's the point. Maya, we should not take casually. We should not think like, oh, I can manage. I am in ashram for 20 years, 15 years, 10 years. So I can easily take care. No. Even great people, we see that they can become victims of passion. Of course, this episode happened with Brahma, who is a different Brahma than Chaturmukha Brahma. Vishwan Chakravarti explains that this episode happened when by that Brahma who had not heard the Chatushloki. So, because our Brahma heard Chatushloki on the first day only, which is Brahma Kalpa, and this story is of Brahma who did not hear Chatushloki. So that means this should be some other Brahma, not the Chaturmukha Brahma. So very rarely Brahma is not a devotee. Otherwise, usually he is devotee. In the next chapter, you will hear about the scenario when Brahma is not a devotee. That is there discussed in the next chapter. It is very kwachitka, which means very kwachit in Sanskrit. Kwachitka means rarest of rare scenario. But it can happen. So in such cases, we may see that the Brahma may get influenced by mode of passion also. And then, just like it happened here, that he became charmed by his daughter only and started following her. Lord Shiva's getting attracted to Mohini, that was more a desire of the Lord. Lord actually put him in that illusion because he wanted to show, Lord Shiva also wanted to glorify the Lord and Lord's prowess. And because he desired that to see Lord's energy, so, Krishna, meaning Lord Vishnu, arranged in that way. So that is considered Ishwarecha. But Brahma's running behind daughter is not considered Ishwarecha. It was because of his being influenced by that Rajas this way. So that's it. That's it. Ordinary conditioned souls, they are easily captivated by beauty of a woman. So that's why Matra Swastra Duhitrava Na Viviktasano Bhavet Balvan Indriya Brahmo Vidvans Chapi Karshati. So the senses are so powerful that one may develop even sometimes, very wrong attitude towards young daughter or young mother or young sister. So Shastras are basically very much instructing on that front this way. Although any cultured person naturally will not have such feelings towards mother or sister or daughter, but still they are warning that one should not take material energy very casually. One should still maintain that decorum to deal with a sister or to deal with mother, to deal with daughter. That should be maintained, proper decorum and decency. See, that is also one aspect in Kali Yuga, that decor and decency is getting lost completely. The way the father and daughter may give a photograph, or the mother and son, they don't look like mother and son. They're giving photographs like their boyfriend, girlfriend, or father also like that. So very terrible, actually, cultural aspects. And that they considered that it is, it is cool, it is following Western civilization and all. Just unfortunate this way. It is best, therefore, to practice controlling the senses by performing bhakti yoga, engaging in the service of Madana Mohan. So Krishna is the one who can conquer the Madan also. Tat srishta srishta srishteshu konva khanditati puman rishim narayanamrite yoshin mahyeya mayaya.
Amongst all kinds of living entities begotten by Brahma, namely men, demigods, and animals, none but the sage Narayana is immune to the attraction of Maya in the form of woman.
Yeah. So tat srishta srishta srishteshu. Tat here means Lord Mahavishnu, or Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Tat srishta means Brahma, because he is created by Lord Narayana. Tat srishta srishta means Brahma's sons, like Marichi, Vasishtha, Bhrigu. And Tat srishta srishta srishteshu means their sons. Their personalities like Kashyapa and all of them. This way. So we see that or Tat is being referred to Brahma. You can take one step ahead. So Tat is being referred to Brahma. So Tat Srishta becomes Brahma's sons. Tat Srishta Srishta becomes sons of Brahma's sons, like Kashyapa and all that. Marichi's son Kashyapa. And Tat Srishta Srishta Srishteshu means Kashyapa's sons, like devatas, adityas, daityas, and also the human beings which are coming from Swayambhu Manu. So amongst the devatas, daityas, rakshasas, asuras, human beings, konva khandita dhi puman, who is that person who is akhandita dhi, that whose consciousness is not disturbed by yoshin mayyeya mayaya, by my maya in the form of a yoshit, in the form of a woman. Who in this world is like that, that his consciousness is not disturbed by the sight of a young, beautiful woman? Rishim Narayana Mrate, except for the sage Narayan. The Naranarayana, they are known for their amazing sense control. What they're like Supreme Lord. They sage Narayan, who can bewilder him? Indra sent away this heavenly damsels to bewilder him. So, he only created heavenly damsel from his body, Urvashi, and gave to Indra and said, take it. Uh, you wanted me to get agitated. You keep this Urvashi and go away. So that's the point. So point is nobody is free from that attraction. Vishwan Chakravarti translates this verse differently. He says that because sage Narayan is not part of creation, so the verse should be translated differently, he says, right? Tat srishta srishta srishteshu. In the creation that is created by Brahma and his sons. But sage Narayana is not part of that creation, no? He is actually transcendental. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says, you should understand this verse like this. Rishim Narayanam Rite. Devoid of mercy of Lord Narayana, who in this world is actually not disturbed by the sight of a young woman? If you are devoid of mercy of Narayana, so Rishim Narayanam Rite means devoid of mercy of Lord Narayana. So if you don't have blessings of Narayana, if you don't have mercy of Narayana, so devoid of mercy of Narayana, who in this world is free from the attachment to the woman, or one whose consciousness is not disturbed? Meaning everybody's consciousness is disturbed. But those who are not Rite Rishim Narayanam, meaning those who are actually having mercy of Lord Narayana, they are not devoid of Narayana, but they are with Narayana, and they have the mercy of Narayana, then many Akhandita Dhi would be there. So Vishwan Chakravarti gives the, in this way, a tweak to the meaning. He says that if you have the mercy of Narayana, then you will be Akhandita Dhi. Then your consciousness will not be disturbed. And that is true also, right? We see that personalities like, great devotees, like even Haridas Thakur demonstrated that. Many other devotees who are, we see that they are not disturbed by any of these aspects. So Lord's great devotees, pure devotees, we see Shukadev, he was completely free from the attachment to women. Narad Muni. So all these personalities, they are Akhandita Dhi, right? Their consciousness is not at all disturbed by the women. So that is because they are not Rishim Narayanam Rite. Rite means devoid. They are rather Rishim Narayana Sahita. They are not Rahita, but Sahita. They are actually under the shelter of Lord Narayana or Lord Krishna. So that's the point of this verse. Otherwise, if you don't take shelter of Krishna, then it is not easy. Then the senses, they are on a rampage. It's a war against them this way. So that's how. Balam me pasha mayaya strimaya jayino disham या करोति पदाक्रांतान भ्रूवृजृंभेन केवलम. Yes.
Just try to understand the mighty strength of my Maya in the shape of woman, who by the mere movement of her eyebrows can keep even the greatest conquerors of the world under her grip.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this chapter because there are just 7, 8 verses. So in case any of you need to leave for prasadam, you may be hungry, please go ahead and you can hear the recording later. No problem. But I will finish this chapter because I already, we couldn't start at 2 o'clock. So otherwise this chapter would have been finished and we would have started also next one because yeah, this will take just about 15 minutes more. Balam me pashamaya. Okay, yeah, we read this. So, just see the power of my Maya uh, in the form of this three. Uh, why? What is that power? Disham jayino padakrantan bhuvrijrimbhena kevalam. The conquerors of the direction also, this woman, uh, she makes them fall at her feet. Uh, how? Because she has some weapons or like, no, Bhruvrijram Bhena. And just by the movement of her eyebrows, if she just expresses some displeasure by making frowning eyebrows, then finished. The king is just falling at her feet. The emperor is falling at her feet, begging for that enjoyment, beseeching her for her grace. And Kevalam, see, this word Kevalam does not just mean just by the mere eyebrow. Of course, that is one meaning also, but actually Kevalam means Nirnite, Nirnite Kevalam. Amar Kosha explains. What does that mean? Meaning that even the great emperor can be just controlled by the woman by mere movement of her eyebrows. This matter is sealed. Huh? There is no discussion to be done on this. There is no argument on this. There is no charcha to be done. No, I think it's not exactly true. Nothing like that. It is decisively true. This is how it is. That's the meaning of Kevalam. केवलम मीन्स निर्णीतम, ये डिसीजन हो गया, इसमें कोई चर्चा की बात नहीं है, ऐसा ही है ये. That's how. So that is the aspect that is spoken, and we see that this is the story of. There are many instances in history of world of a great conquerors being captivated by charms of a Cleopatra. So this woman, this queen of Egypt called Cleopatra. So extremely low character woman, this Cleopatra. And Cleopatra the seventh. Actually, in history books, we have read all this stuff. So I remember also many things. So this Cleopatra, she first, seduced this person called Julius Caesar. So then she, taking Caesar's help, she became the queen of Egypt, actually. This Caesar was, he was, you could say there was no Roman Empire that time, but a Roman Empire was just about to come up. So before that Roman Empire, there was one region called Gaul, that region of Italy and all. So he was actually one of the three main rulers of that Gaul, and very powerful, military commander and great conqueror, this Caesar. But this Julius Caesar, he became attached to this woman, and she seduced him, and in this way she became the king of Egypt, the queen of Egypt. Later, this Julius Caesar was murdered. So then, his trusted commander, military general, was one fellow named Antony. So then she seduced Antony also. And she struck an affair with Antony like that. So then That way she again remained in power because Antony was very powerful also. And she enjoyed all the power and all that. And she was extremely low in her character, this Cleopatra. No. And then finally, this fellow also died, this Antony. So, uh, you know, then another relative of Julius Caesar, who was the first Roman emperor, he came to actually capture this woman because he thought that she has done a lot of political upheaval. So then she tried to now seduce the third generation also. You can imagine. Uh, I mean, I'm just telling this to tell that how in this world, Prabhupada is quoting Cleopatra, right? So that was Cleopatra actually. She was extremely debased woman and who were just interested in power, prestige, and pleasures. That's it. But even the conquerors like Julius Caesar and this Antony and the third, anyhow, the third one survived. He did not fall prey to her because he had heard the story of the prior to. So this Augustus, he never became conquered by her. But the point is, yeah, that's Prabhupada says one has to study the captivating potency of woman and man's attraction for that potency. That's how. So he connects it very amazingly to the Adiras attraction between Krishna and Radharani. Uh, so something which is lowest and very poor, inferior pleasure of the material world, but in spiritual world, the relationship between Radha and Krishna, that is the highest, purest, most pristine thing called as Adi Rasa. This way. So Prabhupada explains that if Krishna wants to be captivated by womanly attraction, would he be attracted to any material woman? It is not possible. So even the devotees of the Lord, they are not attracted by the material woman. What to speak of Lord? So that's why Lord manifests his own internal potency in the form of a female. Uh, and that is actually Srimati Radharani, who is the manifestation of his Swarupa Shakti or his Ladini Shakti, that feature. So that is Radharani. When Lord wants to be attracted by a woman, he has to create such a woman from his own energy. That woman is Radharani. So she is not some ordinary or extraordinary person, right? She is Sakshat Swarup Shakti of the Lord. She is the source of Lakshmi's. And so that's why we see that that attraction, Prabhupada is explaining, that's actually the purest. And the perverted reflection of that we see in the world. That's why there is such a great uh, urge and surge of that emotion in the material world, because it is very highest in the spiritual world, like that. So that's why in the material world it is reflected pervertedly. Instead of being attracted by material beauty, if one is accustomed to be attracted by beauty of Radharani and Krishna, then the statement of Bhagavad Gita, Param Drishtva Nivartate, holds true. So we want to be attracted by Radharani and Krishna's beauty and their Nam Rupa Guna Leela, not the beauty of this world. So we want to serve and please them, and then one will be able to overcome the material beauty. So for this purpose, to get attracted by beauty of Radha and Krishna, we have to hear about them. We have to hear their glories. We have to recite their glories. We have to chant their names. It's all a matter of hearing, actually, receiving. We hear about their qualities, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila, Seva. So then we will feel attraction for them, right? Especially the qualities. Jiva Goswami says that for a sadhaka, especially the Nama and Guna, these two are very important factors. He says that one should chant the holy names of Lord and one should discuss the qualities of Krishna. So that would very much attract us because Krishna's qualities, they melt the heart, like that. So Lord Krishna, Radharani, Gauranga, Nityananda, their qualities, we see that they touch our heart, and then the heart becomes soft and it wants to surrender unto the Supreme Lord this way. So especially that everything Nam, Rupa, Guna, Leela, but especially on the aspect of the gunas, it touches very much in the conditioned state. So that's why he is concluding, Sangam na kuryat pramada sujatu yogasya param paramaru rukshu mat sevaya pratilabdhar labdhatma labho vadanti ya nirayadvaram asya.
One
Yes.
aspires to reach the culmination of yoga and has realized himself by rendering service unto me should never associate with an attractive woman, for such a woman is declared in the scripture to be the gateway to hell for the advancing devotee.
Yeah. So you can see Kapila Muni, he is speaking all this to his mother. In this brahmachari class, there is only one person who is attending, and that is his mother, uh, Mother Devahuti. So point is, yes, actually Devahuti is already transcendental personality. She has Lord as her son. Uh, this whole instructions are not even meant for her. They are actually meant for us. So we can see that Kapila is speaking that aspect of jnana and vairagya connected to Krishna very, very strongly, that aspect. So that's why if one wants to go beyond this material world, yogasya param paramaru rukshu. So such a person who wants to cross over the ocean of material existence, he should never ever become attached to any pramada, any woman. He should never become attached. Instead, mat sevaya pratilabdha atmalabho. Instead, by rendering service unto me and feeling that great inner satisfaction, the joy of Krishna consciousness, one should go on peacefully executing Krishna consciousness. Because the attachment to woman, that woman is actually Niraya Dwara, she is gateway to the hell, uh, like that. A materialistic woman again. If some devotee woman is there, a grihastha, he is leading a sincere, honest life with his wife, that's wonderful. They both can make great advancement. But for a brahmachari, any attachment to any woman is not good. Uh, Whether devotee or non-devotee woman, as a brahmachari, he basically has nothing to do with them. So that's why one should be very careful on that aspect, especially in bhakti. So that's what Krishna is telling. That meaning Kapila is telling that don't become attached to women and instead render service unto me, and be very happy within the heart. So he's also giving that positive aspect very clearly. That be absorbed in my service, hearing my name, fame, qualities, pastimes, and experience that inner joy, pratilabdhatma labho. Then you will not run behind that so-called enjoyment of this world. In no standard yoga system is the association of women accepted. It is clearly stated that the association of women is the gateway to hellish life. Right? Yoga system has also brahmacharya within it, right? Yama, niyama. So within yama itself, there is brahmacharya. But who speaks about it? In fact, yoga teachers are women only. Right? Uh, some attractive woman is only teaching yoga. You can imagine what sense control they will accomplish. Uh, so women can teach women, that is no problem. But for teaching to men also, some woman is there, and then what can we expect there? How they will learn the yoga for sense control and all that. They may learn some bodily exercises and pranayam and all this much. But yeah, that's how it is in today's day and time. So योपयाति शनैर्माया योषिद्देव विनिर्मिता तामीक्षेतात्मनो मृत्युम तृणैः कूपम इवावृतम. Yes, Prabhu.
The woman created by the Lord is the representation of Maya, and one who associates with such Maya by accepting services must certainly know that this is the way of death, just like a blind well covered with grass.
Yeah, in fact, you know, upayati shanai, maya yoshit deva vinirmita. Shanai means slowly. Actually, that Maya in the form of a woman, she approaches slowly. Shanai, slowly she approaches. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I like your classes. I like your deity worship. Uh, I like you. Like that. So Shanair Maya, Shanai, slowly she approaches. Right? So that's why one should be very careful. Especially taking some service from a woman, one should just avoid it completely. Like that. Because sometimes she may come in the form of offering some service also, isn't it? Like that, right? I know some brahmacharis, where some Mataji was bringing some food prasadam for them, because brahmachari cannot take certain sabji in ashram. So Mataji said, Prabhuji, I will bring for you. And then then she started bringing some sabji once in a while. Then she started bringing very regularly. Then she started bringing tiffin only. And then she took him only in the tiffin. I mean, whatever she took him home only, brahmachari. Uh, so it has happened actually. Factually, it has happened. So Shanay Upayati, she comes very slowly and offering some service and all that. Very careful we have to be. Tam ikshet atmana mrityum. One should see it as actually my death is coming in front of me. Uh, just like some well is there which is covered by the glass, covered by the grass. I'm sorry, not glass, grass. Like in villages, you must have seen certain well which is not under use. So what happens is after some time, a lot of grass grows and the creepers grow across the edges of the well, and then it just gets covered completely. And it's a very deep well sometimes. So some animal may just run on that grass and then fall into the well. Finished. Now he cannot come out. He may just die there. So similarly, it is mentioned here. She may sometimes come under the pretext of some service, but then slowly the association increases, the intimacy increases, and finished. One will be knocked off, gone permanently that way. So that's why one has to be very, very careful. Nothing beyond that aspect of service, like that. Sometimes they want to ask you questions, so they want personal number. Prabhuji, can I ask you questions outside of the class? No, why outside class? Inside class you ask, no? I am ready to wait 1 hour also after class, but you ask inside class, no outside class. That way, right? So, these factors. Sometimes they may be even innocent. We are not saying that they have some evil in their mind. But point is, our heart will become weak. So this is one important point that as a brahmachari, we should note that. See, what happens is by their voice and by their dealings, our heart becomes weak. Uh, Sometimes the women by nature, they may be like that. They may be very innocent also. But this overall, this combination is like this, that the man becomes very weak. Then he starts feeling all devotees are very hard-hearted. This Mataji is so soft-hearted. These brahmacharis, they never appreciate anything of me. Mataji appreciates everything of me. So what has happened? Hriday daurbalya aa gaya usko. In ashram, we are not expected to be like that, no? Ashram is not, ashram is ashram finally. If you expect ashram to be, the ashram residents to be like women, giving such emotional support and all. It is impossible. It is unrealistic expectation. We should not have such expectation. Ashram is not like, I mean, there can be never the support like some wife or mother or like that. It is impossible, because this is a place of spiritually grave, serious people, and who are males. So they certainly have a certain psychophysical nature. So expectation is only wrong if one is thinking that somebody should be like mother to me in ashram, or somebody should serve like a wife or mother. It's impossible. We are more like comrades. It's a camaraderie, as they say. It's like military. In military, the comrades are together. So like that, we are together. So we may have great friendship. We may share our happiness and distress and all, but it's not like, I mean, family and the mother and all, that's a different scenario. Uh, we don't expect that from brahmacharis like that. It would be difficult than otherwise. If one is too much emotional, crybaby kind of person, it's difficult to survive in ashram actually. In ashram means we should be somewhat tough. We should go on with uh, less emotional need. If too much emotional need means one probably needs a family life, that way. So that's how. Acceptance of service rendered by a woman may appear very pleasing, but one should be very cautious in accepting such service, because it is clearly said that woman is gateway to death. Yam manyate patim mohan manmayam vrishabhayatim stritvam stri sangatah prapto vittapatya graha pradam. Yes.
A living entity who, as a result of attachment to a woman in his previous life, has been endowed with the form of a woman, foolishly looks upon Maya in the form of a man, her husband, as the bestower of wealth, progeny, house, and other material assets.
Yeah, in fact, he said just as for a man, woman is being condemned as the object of degradation. Similarly, for a woman, man is also the object of degradation. So that is spoken in text 41 and 42. Now, this is the opposite side. For a woman, man is actually a problem. So, because yam manyate patim mohat, uh, because of the infatuation and illusion, she's considering some man to be like, to be her husband, and becoming very infatuated and attracted to him. But actually, she is getting attracted to that man, but she, meaning this wife, was actually the man in her prior life. So this woman was actually a man in her prior life, and that man was thinking about his wife at the end of his life. So that's why now he has become woman. And now, as a woman, she is thinking about the man. So that is what Kapila is saying. Stritvam stri sangatah prapto. ये आदमी था पहले, लेकिन because of his attachment to a woman, stri sangatah, now he is stritvam prapta. And in this woman's body, now he is becoming attached to the man. तो ये ऐसे ही चलता रहेगा फिर, like that. Then you are born as a man in the next life, and then you again, it just continues like that. So he's saying that, I mean, that's also one scenario. It can happen like that under the sway of the karma, this way. So who is man, who is woman, this aspects like that. Of course, the chastity for a woman is very much appreciated. But Bhagavad speaks beyond chastity also. You understand, this sort of talk may not be there in other scriptures. Why? Because they are not transcendental scriptures. But Bhagavatam speaks about ideas which are even beyond chastity. So chastity is accepted only. It is the highest virtue. But Bhagavatam is now speaking even beyond that. Just bodily level attachment to a husband, that is appreciated at dharma level, but Bhagavatam is speaking much beyond that also. being transcendental, understanding transcendentally and being transcendentally attached to this uh, person like husband or children. A spiritual attachment is fine this way. The relationship between man and woman is very complicated, but the substance is that one who aspires to ascend to the transcendental stage should be very careful in accepting the association of woman. That's it, right? That's the essence here. Careful to be away. I mean, this free mixing aspect, one should be very, very careful that way. A man should not be attached to a woman, and nor should a woman be attached to a man. Both man and woman should be attached to the service of the Lord, right? Between the couple, they should keep the divine couple. That's it. Tamatmano vijaniyat patyapatya grahatmakam daivopasaditam mrityum mrigayorgayanam yatha. Yes.
A woman therefore should consider her husband, her house, and her children to be the arrangement of the external energy of the Lord for her death, just as the sweet singing of a hunter is death for the deer.
Yeah, so for a woman, the man's attachment is also being here talked about as a condemnation, like that. Like for her, the man and his sweet talk and her children and all is like that sweet singing of the hunter. The hunter will sing very nicely and then capture the deer. So similarly, it is said for a woman, Kapila is saying the man is like that. Man is also the gateway to hell for a woman if she is materialistically attached. But if the same attachment is transferred to Krishna, both of them become Krishna conscious, and then marriage is very nice. That is it. So in this way, in the degradation of the jiva, especially in youth, that dussanga has been spoken by Kapila as one of the most deadliest factors, attachment to women and attachment to people who are attached to women. So that dussanga can take him to hellish life again. So that's why he spoke so much about that bad association. So he ends now this chapter by talking about, so in this way, we see that the person finally comes to death. He'll having led such a life, the person, he is about to die. So he speaks about what is death and what is birth, and he ends this topic. Dehena jiva bhutena lokam anubrajan bhunjana eva karmani karotya viratam puman. Yes, Prabhu.
Due to his particular type of body, the materialistic living entity wanders from one planet to another, following fruitive activities. In this way, he involves himself in fruitive activities and enjoys the result incessantly.
Yeah. So this is clear. Jivo hyasyanugo deho bhutendriya manomayah tannirodhosya maranam avirbhavastu sambhavah.
In this way, the living entity gets a suitable body and a material mind and senses according to his fruitive activities. When the reaction of his particular activity comes to an end, that end is called death. And when a particular type of reaction begins, that beginning is called birth.
Yeah, you see now. So it's defining birth and death. What is birth and what is death? Jivo hyasyanugo deho. Here, asya means atma. Jivo means subtle body. Deho means gross body. So Jiva meaning Jivopadi meaning subtle body and gross body, they are anuga. They are followers of Atma. Basically, Atma, we see that by activities and all the Jivatma, he has a certain karma. So this Atma is the main factor, right? That's the real identity. So actually, the gross body and subtle body, we see that they are the coverings on this Atma. Bhutendriya Manomaya, this gross body and subtle body. So when gross body and subtle body, they come together, that is called as birth. And when gross body and subtle body are separated, that is called as death. You can see. That's the thing. Atma is there, but along with Atma, the subtle body is there covering the Atma. When that subtle body is separated from gross body, that is death. When that subtle body again becomes connected to gross body, that becomes birth. This way. So Atma and subtle body, they remain together always. But the gross body is changing. Gross body may be destroyed, and then new gross body comes. That is called birth and death. When the subtle body is also removed from Atma, that is called moksha. That is actually considered to be the liberation. That is going back home, back to Godhead. So this is it. It is clear that a particular body is given to the living entity for a particular type of activity. So a certain reaction makes a certain gross body and subtle body come together, and that is called birth. Once that reaction is over, then the next set of reaction, it comes as a gross body, and it combines with the subtle body. That is called as birth. So like that. So different karmic reactions producing different bodies for the jiva. We say this is how the birth and death have been explained. So he gives some example for this. Dravyopalabdhi sthanasya dravyeksha yogyata yada tat panchatvam mahammanad utpattir dravya darshanam yathakshno dravya vayava darshana yogyata yada tadeva chakshusho drashtur drashtutva yogyatanayoh. Yes.
When the eyes lose their power to see color or form due to morbid affliction of the optic nerve, the sense of sight becomes deadened. The living entity who is the seer of both the eyes and the sight loses his power of vision. In the same way, when the physical body, the place where perception of object occurs, is rendered incapable of perceiving, that is known as death. When one begins to view the physical body as one's very self, that is called birth.
Yeah, so you understand this example. What it is telling is that, we see that the something like seeing, like the sight. So there is this gross eye called as netra, and then there is also inside a subtle sense called as chakshu, and that is subtle eye. It is called subtle eye. It's part of the subtle body, and outside it is netra, the eyeball, uh, golaka or netra. So you can see if the outside apparatus is spoiled, then one cannot see, isn't it? Even when the outside apparatus is spoiled, then one cannot see. So similarly, when the gross body, by gross body, there can be no perception. If the gross body is destroyed to such a level that the living entity can no longer perceive anything from the gross body, then it is considered to be death, like that. And when again one develops that identification with gross body, having given up one gross body, one again develops with another gross body identification, and then that gross body allows that one can actually perceive the gross things. Once somebody dies, then that gross body may be there, but one cannot perceive anything now through that body, right? So that is called death. But when the karmic reaction allows again the gross body and subtle body's connection, by which one can start again perceiving the gross matter, so then that is called as birth. So that is what is the example. When one begins to view the physical body as one's very self, that is called birth. The eyes may get spoiled, and that's why one may not be able to see, but one can smell, one can touch. So that's why it is not considered death. But when nothing from the gross body is going to work, you just lose all aspect of perception through gross body, then it's called death. This is it. तस्मान्न कार्य संत्रासो न कार्पण्यम न संभ्रमः बुद्ध्वा जीव गतिम धीरो मुक्त संगश्चरेदिह.
Therefore, one should not view death with horror, nor have recourse to defining the body as soul, nor give way to exaggeration in enjoying the bodily necessities of life. Realizing the true nature of the living entity, one should move about in the world free from attachment and steadfast in purpose.
Yeah, so that's why न कार्य संत्रास. तो संत्रास नहीं करना चाहिए. One should not be horrified by the reality of the material world, nor one should feel very weak and kripana, nor should there be bewilderment. In this world, dukkha, I mean, this janma mrityu jara vyadhi will be there. So one should not get bewildered, Kapila Muni is saying. Budhva jiva gatim dhiro, understanding how the living entities travel in this material world, one should just become free from attachment and travel in this world this way. One has to, Prabhupada says also, one should not become bewildered or upset by hearing the philosophy of life and death. Instead, one should work to find the solution. Right? See, the Vedas speak about the reality. The Shastras speak about reality of birth, old age, disease, and death, but they speak so much about the solution. But the materialistic people, they don't want to talk about the problems, and that's why they don't have any solution also. They don't talk about the problems, they don't talk about solutions. The Vedas talk about the problems realistically, and they also talk about the solution this way. Without being unnecessarily upset, he should try to find out if there is a remedy this way. So he speaks about who is miserly and who is Brahmana. Samyak darshanaya buddhya yoga vairagya yuktaya maya virachite loke charenyasya kalevaram.
Endowed with right vision and strengthened by devotional service and a pessimistic attitude towards material identity, one should relegate his body to this illusory world through his reason. Thus, one can be unconcerned with this material world.
Yeah. So, by understanding the philosophy of life properly, Samyak Darshan, by using his intelligence nicely, Buddhi, which is properly philosophically oriented, and by practicing Bhakti Yoga, by practicing detachment, one should give up the, or rather, Maya Virachite Loke Nyasya Kalevaram. Yeah. So, one should move about in this world, giving up all the attachment to the Kalevara, to the gross body, completely, like that. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of third canto, 31st chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Lord Krishna's Instructions on the Movements of Living Entities. So thank you for your patience. I wanted to finish this chapter, so we can tomorrow complete this chapter also. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. If you have any
Just
questions on this chapter, you can ask in tomorrow's session. We'll begin at 2 o'clock, and tomorrow we'll stop after finishing the chapter only. So that 31 and 32 are over. And I think that chapter is short only. There is not like these prayers, and they are not there. So I think we'll finish in 2.5 hours, or maybe 10-15 minutes extra. That's it. Is that okay, Vilas Vadan Prabhu?
yes, Priji, perfect, Priji. Just wanted to ask you, tomorrow is Ekadashi. So for
Oh,
you and for everyone else, what time will be convenient? I want to just confirm.
okay. Tomorrow is Ekadashi. So I am okay usually because I have classes, but are all of you okay?
Mostly today they're okay. Only thing is, what time will be preferable? Morning time or post lunch time? So devotees just wanted to confirm. Is this time only comfortable? And especially you, are you comfortable in both time? That's what also.
Yeah. Yes. This time is only okay, Prabhu, because tomorrow is only lunch, no? And lunch is early, 12:45. So Like by 2 o'clock, I can easily, peacefully start.
Okay.
For
Krishna Kirtan
devotees of
to yes, Puji.
12:30, 12:30 prasad is there in temple, right?
Correct, correct.
So then 12:30 and we start at 2 o'clock. So that should be okay, or any other suggestion?
Nothing much, only some two devotees are in bus party. I think they have joined. They were having they will be traveling that time in bus. So they were that only they were asking can meet in the first time slot. But I think if all devotees are more comfortable with the second slot, then we can do second only. They can join in on traveling
I'm
time.
also comfortable with second only, bro,
Yes,
because
Puji.
I can finish all my extra rounds and everything.
Yes, Puji. Yes, Puji.
Yes,
Okay, Krishna Kitarbu?
yes, yes. But one thing, if little early also can start, like 1:30 is difficult.
Yeah, 1:30 is also okay. No problem. For me, 12:30 is prasadam time, so 1:30 is fine. Is that fine with all of you? Then it's okay.
Have I gone through? Foundation found.
Okay.
Maunam sammati darshanam.
ठीक है प्रभु जी चलेगा 1:30 will begin then. Okay, Father.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Let's meet tomorrow. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।